My early days of Agile project management, I remember working with one team in particular. I was pretty eager to prove myself. I was kind of new in the role, and we were missing our deadlines. We were missing our commitments. It's pretty common. It happens on a lot of projects. And my solution was that I would create this spreadsheet and track how many hours were they spending on design, how many hours were spending on development. I had this pretty detailed spreadsheet with dates across the top and names, and you can kind of picture it in your head. And I would have these meetings, and I would say, well, how many hours did you spend? And how long did this take? It sort of became this process police. And I remember one of the developers, after one of our daily sync meetings, his name's Quentin, he pulled me aside and he said, hey, we used to solve these problems like over a lunchtime chat or over a cup of coffee, but now I'm spending all this time updating your spreadsheet and recording my hours, and it feels very punitive. I remember that word sticking with me and saying, I'm not interested in punishing people. I'm not interested in being the sort of process police. And so I did something, I thought it was brave. I told the team that I made a mistake. It was actually sort of not my role to be the process police. And I apologized to the team, asked them if they would forgive me and help me understand like a different way of doing this. Because look, at the end of the day, our goals are the same. It's to deliver a great product or service to customers, and that's what's encouraging. That's what feels good. And I'm on the same team with the team that's doing that work. They don't work for me. I can't just tell them what to do. And we came up with a pretty good solution around how to avoid tracking hours. And in fact, the solution was to come up with committing to goals, short-term goals. We call them sprint goals, but we committed to sprint goals. And instead, we just tracked how are we doing on the goals. Much less sort of documentation and more focused on, ready for it, an outcome. Yes. So an output would be tracking number of hours, but no, we didn't do that. We moved to focusing on an outcome. It was a big shift for me and really stuck with me even to this day about how I lead and as an Agile project manager.